Today I'm going to show you how pros play pit and apartments on Inferno A Site. So you're going to learn the tips, tricks, protocols that the pros use in order to dominate this side of the map. What is your priority as the A anchor and pit player at the start of the round? That is anything to do with apartments, so hopefully stopping the apps rush. This Molotov is able to do that, as well as slow down the T's apps progression. And then if you wanted to, you could back up and you could throw an HE nade off that wall to land inside apartments once your Molotov ends if the T's do advance up. So once we know that the fast play is not there, what's next? You are going to be in charge of holding apartments, sometimes short depending on where your teammates are and what setup they're in. From this pit area, it allows you to watch multiple positions, gives you and buys you time to play defensively as your teammates rotate in. If the T's do have an op, you're not going to be actively peeking short, as this could be the case here. In this round, you're going to see the high value importance of holding from pit, where he's by himself, mezii. And you saw that he's holding this tight angle, which is a very small gap angle in one way to spot towards long. And then you see the T's come out. mezii does not overextend. He does go ahead and get that frag. He's going to wait to peek site here. So ZywOo's going to throw a flash. Then he's going to peek. However, no one's peeking. Unfortunately, he does get Molotov out. But he buys his teammate enough time to rotate in to successfully retake. In the pro scene, you're hardly ever going to see your apps player hold and do a 50-50 duel like this. Well, instead, you're going to see some aggressive plays, whether that is set up at the start or you're going to get help from your teammates, which I'm going to show you some setups. So we're going to have up close mezii, and then Spinx is going to actually flash for him. You increase your odds from that 50-50 duel by using utility or CT setups. Again, we're going to see it here. So this time around, mezii is not going to be inside that corner. He's going to be jiggle peeking for info, and then he is going to ask for the flash once he hears the T's right there. In this situation, besides getting the flash, ZywOo is also here. So ZywOo is going to come in and peek after mezii. So he gets the trade right there. Here's another play that you and your teammate can do if you do want to make that aggressive play. So mezii drops his utility, and then his teammate here, Spinx, from the end of boiler is going to flash for mezii to peek the end of halls. However, the flash gets him instead. But you get the idea of what I just showed you. Instead of just dry peeking him that 50-50 duel, you can increase that chance by having your teammate flash for you. Besides utility, I'm also going to show you some CT setups that you and your teammate can do that will increase your chances of these duels. So here we're going to have a double CT apartment setup. Bit, the rifler holds the right, Wonderful, the op holds the left. The T player might be peeking into a double peek. Towards the later year of CSGO, one popular CT setup is having your apartments hold this left side, while the rifler is going to push up and hold the window side. This is a really strong position for the rifler because when T's are coming out towards window, their main focus is always tendency to look towards the left of boiler and not the right. We see Wonderful miss this peek here, and then actually Bit did cross towards spoiler to help out towards mid here after. So a new meta setup here on CS2 Inferno involves having one rifler jumping on top of this thing here to hold the left side, and then your opper is watching between your legs. Now, as the pit player, you don't always need to start towards that long hall of apartments. You could actually go up towards the boiler side, and we see mezii throw that Molotov there, which is also going to slow down the T's apps default, as that's going to Molotov off the window room and the jump up. And then we see mezii go back to hold apartments where he's on the balcony. He does throw the smoke off as the T's are about to execute towards A, then he's going to drop down and reposition. We see ropz throwing the same Molotov at the start of the round. Instead, he is going to play boiler here. Look how he plays on the stairs. He's going to crouch peek here and there, because if the T's do come across from the opposite side of the hall, they have to peek the long hall and might not see him when they first spot him, which then he's going to catch them looking the other way. And then if you need to get some type of info, you could push into window as we see ropz do here. We're going to see mezii here start towards under porch to listen out for T's that are second mid to see if they jump up, or you see here a lot of footsteps running that way. Then he's going to play defensively with this jiggle peek, crack corner tight angle with a Molotov out, which he's going to throw when contact's made. Just make sure you have somebody watching top mid, because you don't want to be walked up on if you have your Molotov out like this. But you see mezii made contact with the T's pushing out towards apps, and then he throws a Molotov and falls off. And then looks like him and Spinx are going to go into setup where mezii is watching top mid for short from behind this truck, and then Spinx is in A site watching his apps. From top balcony, besides flashing long for your teammates, you could also flash mid at the start by aiming there, left click throw. The flash does not look like it hits, but it does. As I said before, you don't have to start towards the end of the hallway. Instead, you could start towards boiler, get some info, and then work your way back. As a pit player, you are going to be the last player to rotate towards B, and you always want to switch up your positions. You don't always want to anchor inside pit. You want to stay unpredictable, mobile, and keep switching your positions, because if the T's always know you're inside pit, then you are going to be easily read and countered. So here we see b1t playing inside site instead, as the solo A defender is able to get 1.5. Balcony is a very strong position to hold from. It is a very good off angle. T's have a hard time clearing it as they come out apartments, as well as making their way up short. It also allows you to support long by flashing, as well as repositioning by dropping down to mini pit. Now this angle that mezii is holding and peeking from top of the ledge over the truck is a very strong new off angle in CS2. FaZe throw the deep short smoke to try to give them cover to make their way into sight, and then you're going to see mezii play around it and gets himself a nice little 2K. So you can see that mezii starts under porch just to listen out for info if the T's are towards second mid or jump up window. And you see Vitality only had 2A at the start, so you're going to see that mezii smokes off apartments early on in case the other team tries to apps pop. When you do smoke off apartments like this, it does give you the ability to peek this off angle towards short from balcony. If you're playing balcony, look at how mezii looks into a wall at times. That's because this position is easily flashed in order for the T's to jump out apartments. Then he's going to Molotov off apps, drops down, and then you're going to see that he's eventually going to fall back to big pit, has a crossfire with his teammate inside site. So you can see that's 40 seconds left. mezii has no utility, and the big thing about this is that when T's execute towards A, most of the time they are going to Molotov the big pit, which would force him out, but here FaZe aren't going to do so. Also, you can see that mezii does not peek towards short because he knows that FaZe have an op and Brokey would be posted up on him. It's really hard for the T's to entry in and clear out this position, as there's so many potential crossfires and angles they have to clear. In CSGO, when you were anchoring pit on Inferno, it was mandatory and a must-have to have a smoke. You would hold on to your smoke for dear life because it gives you the potential for a one-way. However, that's not possible in CSGO, so sometimes you'll see the anchor player will smoke off the apartments. It's still not a bad thing to have a smoke inside pit because, like I said, you are going to get Molotov out, which then you could use your smoke to put out the Molotov and then play to the left of the smoke. Unfortunately, it does not work out here for b1t, as you're going to see that he's going to get punished by that nade and peeked by the T's. From the pro demos in the tier 1 scene that I've watched so far, you're going to see that the pit player will prefer to smoke off apartments rather than hold on to their smoke for pit if they do play in it. The smoke heavily punishes the T's to even try to push through the smoke, which happens here. So you see the CT setup that just happened. mezii and Spinks were in the double balcony setup. The T's might not expect Spinks to be up there once mezii fall off. Sometimes as the pit apartment player, you are going to be involved in a 2 to 3 player setup towards the top mid to help out. Vitality here have mezii towards this left short wall watching apps. ZywOo is under porch with the op, and then the other player is up close as you see from the other side. And then a very common top mid setup is having one player boosted, one below them, and then one across as shown here. When you think about the T's and what they like to do, it's most often, like I would say, 80% of the time they're going to take mid control. So that's where you would want to have this type of setup where you can contest mid control and your apps player can, come help out in this type of setup. If you don't have anybody watching apps, then it's still perfectly fine because you are taking these duels towards mid. You have to just keep in mind that there might be a lurker after your initial contact. It's very hard to hold top mid control with how easily the T's can use utility, so you will be forced back, and then from here in the mid stage, you're going to call a setup with your A teammates. So here we have one balcony, one pit. Here we've got double pit, so we're going to see mezii inside mini, and then ZywOo's actually inside big pit. mezii was able to get one. Unfortunately, ZywOo was not able to get the player that went down on him from apps because he was dealing with the smoke from the Molotov thrown from apps. I know I showed earlier that b1t got owned from this smoke, but we can see the smoke come into play here where ZywOo is going to use it as cover to peek to the left of it and to put out the Molotov mainly. Make sure you have some type of plan after the initial phase at the beginning of the round with your A teammates. One A setup that I did not show or hardly show in this video is the most annoying one to deal with is the one from either a top balcony pit and then having a player towards a site. That is very annoying to deal with when the T's have to entry up short. And then a very aggressive play that you can make as the apps player at the start of the round is have somebody throw the phase instant mid smoke, crossing the boiler, go towards the end of the hall rushing it, and you might catch the T's by surprise as shown here with ropz doing so, getting 2 frags. Let me know who you want me to analyze next, position, map, role, and make sure to subscribe for more pro CS2 guides, and I'll see you guys in the next one.